Okay, so we're looking at question 1F, summary. So we're still busy with the Curious IGCSE student exam walkthrough. We need to use continuous writing. It says, according to text B, it says, read text B, seasonal work in the insert, and then answer question 1F on the question paper. According to text B, what are the advantages and disadvantages of taking a seasonal job? You must use continuous writing, not note form, and use your own words as far as possible. Your summary should not be more than 120 words. Up to 10 marks are available for the content of your answer, and up to 5 marks for the quality of your writing. Let me just take these notes here. So at this point, my brain is struggling in an exam. I'm like, okay, I've gotten past my first bit, but now I'm actually a little bit bored, if I'm honest. I'm bored with the topic, so I need to kind of make this interesting for myself. And how am I going to do that? Since I have ADHD, if I am on some kind of pill, I will probably take a pill at that point. Unless I recently took a pill. I might stare at the clock for a moment. And what I will do, what I like to do at home as well, is I just take a moment and I say, I am taking a moment to rest. And I will cross my hands like this, or I will cross them like this. And I will just take a moment to rest, and I might look at the clock, just stare at the clock, or I will just sit there for a moment. I make sure that I give myself a fair amount of time, and then I will kind of just get going with whatever I'm doing. So when I'm done with it, when I don't think about my exam, but when I am then ready to start going again, then I get going again. If I need to take a break, I take a break. If my eyes are struggling to see, I look close, I look middle ground, and I look far. There's just different hacks that I use as someone with ADHD. And my ADHD was only diagnosed when I was 28. So these are just things that I did in life. And I really, really did struggle. I have always struggled. We're going to use continuous writing. I explained last week that continuous writing is not note form. So we're not going to write in point form. We're just going to write paragraphs. And we're going to use our own words as far as possible. No more than 120 words. So I know that 120 words in handwriting, I write about 10 words per line. So that's about 12 lines. So that's more or less half a page. Okay. Now I need to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of taking a seasonal job. And I'm supposed to be reading text B. So let's go. Looking for a part-time job. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I have, how many marks is this for? This is 15 marks. And so I'm going to give myself 15 minutes. No, less than 15 minutes. 15 out of 80. That's more than 15 minutes. No, 15 out of 80 times 120. 22 minutes. I don't know what's going on with my brain today. Not math. I'm not in a math brain today. I've got 22 minutes to do this, but I'm going to, for the sake of this, give myself half an hour to do this. Okay, because I also have to talk and stuff like that. Okay. So, advantages and disadvantages. So my advantages, looking for a part-time job or full-time career, have you considered seasonal work? You could find work at a resort during the tourist season, think skiing or camping, or pick berries or other produce. You could work with kids at summer camps or help out at a local festival. There are seasonal jobs to fit every different season. Okay, so I might say here, and my elaboration on this would be something along the lines of, but here's a question, are they worth it? Perhaps, for instance, let's say you are looking for work as a retail manager, but you don't have much experience. 2 months working as a cashier could fill the gap. Okay, so 2 months working as a cashier could help fill the gap. Just make sure that you're thoughtful in how you present your seasonal job on your resume. Okay, so I want to just say something a little bit more. I want to just create connections here. So it provides work experience, even if it is just for a short period of time. You need to make sure that it is portrayed as seasonal work. Okay, so most seasonal jobs don't require much previous knowledge and suit any talent level. Okay, little prior knowledge needed, little talent requirements. Do you see that when I'm making my notes, I'm not making the notes as in the same way that it is written over there, because it's just, I need to make sure that it works, right? So they also tend to be low paying. Okay, so the disadvantages are that they are low paying. Okay, so better than nothing if you are currently unemployed. That's questionable. Should we make the machine run just for the sake of making it run? I'm not sure. But we're just going to write that down because that is the opinion of this piece. If you're working on your career, you might need to consider whether or not the extra hours make sense. Okay. Are you already exhausted from your job or studies? May detract from your full-time job or studies. So here it says tough schedule. I'm going to say difficult schedule. I'm going to try find better words just now when I write my own summary, but going with that for now. Okay. Now don't expect to get hired for a seasonal job and get some good detailed training before you start. Due to the short nature of the season, whatever season it may be, you can expect to get a quick how-to speech at best. So I'm going to say here that there is little training. And then for this reason, choose a seasonal job. But I'm also going to say here that under advantages, that while the disadvantage is that there's little training, so in some cases require prior knowledge. Prior knowledge may be a huge advantage if you already have that. If you got to find out about the business, you may have to learn on the job. Now, I would say that learning on the job is a pro and a con. And then whatever seasonal job offer opportunities, it's your choice, but hurry, these seasonal jobs won't last long. Okay, so the seasonal job doesn't last long, so it's competitive in nature and when you're like signing up. But seasonal jobs don't last long, so it's a limited opportunity. There, I don't know if competitive in nature is actually quite right. It doesn't last long, so time okay. Do any of you have anything to add to that? I tried to go for like an even number, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 disadvantages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 advantages. But I usually go for a total of about 15. Okay, cool. So let me write this. Now what I do is I literally just close that. I put it aside. I don't look at it until I finish writing. I'm going to, for the sake of I'm actually going to number this. Okay. So I'm going to start with... Okay, so the reason I'm doing it like this is I'm saying, okay, so we're going to talk about the knowledge needed. So the prior knowledge and stuff like that, what's needed to get into it. Then here, if you have prior knowledge, so then I'm going to jump into my disadvantages. Okay, so I'm going to jump into 5. Okay, so the reason I did it like this, so I start off by talking about the little prior knowledge needed. Then I go to, but if you have prior knowledge, then that's a great thing. If you have that, and the little prior knowledge is actually also really great if you are someone who likes to learn on the job. There is also a little talent requirement, so I just need to figure out how to say that concisely. Then I jump here, then I say, okay, but it is quite low paying, and especially with the difficult schedule and the little training, and the fact that learning on the job may actually be quite stressful for some. It is better if you are currently unemployed, and it does provide some work experience for your resume, and possibly even some extra cash for a savings goal. It can, however, take away from time with your family. It might detract from your full-time job or your studies. And finally, I would say that while it doesn't last long, this might be the biggest determinant in getting the job for you, while it not lasting long is actually a limited opportunity. So it does depend on your context. And so I felt... Let me see what's happening here quickly. Sorry. Is that better? Okay. So now I've got all of these points. Now I need to actually write a little thing about this. And it needs to be 120 words, which is actually not too difficult, but it can be challenging. Okay. Now this first sentence actually is not really necessary, but it's going to make my thing feel a little bit more balanced. So I'm going to write quickly. Okay, so I'm actually just going to leave out this last point because I don't actually know how to add it in. And then I am 15 words. Let me just check how many words I've got. I have 135 words. Okay, I'm on 113 words. That is a good amount. Okay. That is perfect then.